Stop. Stop scrolling. Not in a moment, right now. The part of you that paused before you could decide whether to pause is the same part that has been holding on through a season that should have broken you by now. Something was announced in heaven today. The announcement was about you, not in general, not as part of a collective, specifically by name. This word was not assembled for a broad audience. It was released for the one who has been inside a particular kind of battle, the kind that cannot be summarized in a prayer request, the kind where you did everything right and still could not make it move. If that description landed somewhere specific in your chest just now, you were not brought here by algorithm. You were brought by appointment. You are tired in a way that goes past frustration into something quieter and more dangerous, a numbness you cannot fully explain to people who have not been inside this specific battle. You have prayed through it, fasted through it, declared over it, served through it, and waited. Nothing visible has shifted. The depletion you feel is real, and it has stopped looking like a season and started looking like a destination. There is a shame that arrives with this kind of exhaustion, the shame of being depleted at this point in the journey, as if someone truly faithful would not feel this way by now. You have stopped trying to explain it. You carry it quietly, managing the week with whatever you have left, holding the outside together while something on the inside has gone very still. That stillness is not failure. That stillness is the subject of the announcement. What you have interpreted as divine silence is not what it appears to be. In a courtroom, everything goes completely still in the moments before the verdict, not because the judge has left, not because the case was abandoned, but because what is about to be declared requires absolute stillness to receive properly. You have been living inside that silence. The deliberation was not delayed. The deliberation was in session. Every condition inside this battle was designed to extinguish something in you, and it could not. That single fact changes the meaning of everything you endured. The season that felt like it was dismantling you was not evidence that you were forgotten. You were not abandoned in the fire, you were being certified inside it. And here is what heaven announced today. The battle is over. Not, it will be over soon. Not, hold on a little longer. Over. The verdict has been read in the courts of eternity and released into the earth, and you are standing at the precise moment when most people walk away, because nothing visible has confirmed it yet, and visible confirmation is what this season trained you to require before you believe anything is real. You have not been petitioning for something that has not yet arrived. You have been unaware of something that was already declared. Those are not the same posture, and they do not produce the same life. The announcement was issued before the evidence appeared on the ground, because that is the order in which heaven operates. Decree first, display second. You are not waiting for a verdict. You are receiving one. If this word is already settling somewhere in your spirit, if something shifted when you heard that the silence was procedural, that the verdict has already been read, type "I am here" in the comments right now. Not as an interaction, as a declaration that you showed up for the specific word that was prepared for you on this specific day, at this precise moment in your journey. I have something exact to deliver to you today. A word from the original Hebrew that will reframe not just this season, but the name heaven has been holding over your life through every condition designed to silence it. But I have not yet told you the most important thing. I have not yet told you why this announcement came today specifically. Not last year, not 6 months ago, not tomorrow. Stay with me. Before I tell you what heaven announced, I need you to do something. If you are standing, sit down. If you are sitting, place both feet flat on the ground. Close your eyes for 3 seconds, not to pray, not to prepare a response, simply to arrive. What is coming next requires all of you present, not just the part that processes information. The part that has been holding on through everything, that part needs to be here too. What I'm about to name are not signs that you are special in a general sense. These are specific markers, fingerprints, not features, that identify the one this announcement was made about. As I name them, do not analyze, do not debate. Simply notice where something inside you responds before your mind has time to evaluate whether it should. That involuntary recognition is itself part of what I am showing you. The first sign is that you could not walk away. You wanted to. You had every legitimate reason to. The silence was long enough, the cost was real enough, the evidence of movement was absent enough that walking away would have looked like wisdom to anyone watching. But something held. Not willpower, not stubbornness, something that operated beneath your ability to override it. That interior anchor, the thing that would not let you go even when you gave yourself permission, is not a personality trait. It is a covenant restraint. Heaven holds on to what heaven has assigned. The second sign is that the silence itself had a particular texture. It was not empty. There were moments, brief, difficult to articulate, when something moved in the stillness, not a voice, not a vision, a frequency, an impression, a certainty that arrived without argument and dissolved before you could fully examine it. You filed those moments away as imagination because nothing in the natural confirmed them. They were not imagination. They were dispatches from a deliberation that was still in session. The third sign is the specific quality of your exhaustion. Not every weariness is the same. The exhaustion that comes from carrying a genuine assignment in a prolonged silence has a particular weight, heavier than grief, quieter than despair, more precise than burnout. It is the exhaustion of someone who showed up faithfully to a room where nothing appeared to happen, day after day, year after year. That precision of weariness is not the mark of someone God forgot. It is the mark of someone whose post was taken seriously enough to be tested at that intensity. The fourth sign is that your prayers changed. At some point during this season, you may not have noticed when, they shifted. The petitions became quieter. The declarations became steadier. Not because your faith grew louder, but because something in you stopped performing urgency and started inhabiting a certainty you could not fully explain. You did not manufacture that shift. Intercession does not transform itself. Something on the other side of the silence was doing the work of changing how you prayed, because it was preparing you for a posture the answer would require. The fifth sign is that you are here, not watching casually, not accidentally. You were brought to this specific word on this specific day, past every distraction this week produced, past every other thing competing for this moment. The algorithm does not have the clearance to arrange that kind of precision. What brought you here was not a recommendation engine. It was an appointment already written, and the word prepared for this appointment is not general. It has your name attached to it in a language older than the one I am speaking right now. These 5 markers together do not describe someone who has been overlooked. They describe someone who has been so specifically engaged by heaven that every aspect of this season, the silence, the holding, the shifted prayers, the exhaustion, the arrival here today, was coordinated around an announcement that was always going to come to you. The battle was not evidence of abandonment. The battle was the certification process that made the announcement necessary. Type 777 in the comments right now. Not as a number, as a declaration that you received what was just named. 7 is completion in the language of heaven. 3 sevens is completion sealed, confirmed, and released. Let those digits be the first mark of the new season you are stepping into as you read this word. The courtroom has been completely still, not because the judge left the bench, because what was about to be declared was too significant to receive in noise. Every one of these 5 signs was the silence of that courtroom, the procedural quiet before a verdict of this magnitude is read aloud. What you experienced was not abandonment administered through silence. It was preparation administered through it. And the revelation that holds all 5 of these markers together into a single picture is still coming. Stay with me, because there is a word in the original Hebrew for exactly this kind of victory, not the kind measured by what you conquered, the kind measured by what could not be extinguished in you through every condition designed to put you out. When I tell you what that word actually means, not the translation you have seen, but the root of it, the original designation, it will reframe not just this season, but every season you have been calling a defeat. The deepest truth is still ahead. The word I am about to give you is not a translation. It is the original designation, the name heaven has been holding over your life through every condition designed to silence it. The name is Nitzachon, pronounced Nitzachon. You will not find it in the first hour of most sermons about victory. You will not see it defined the way I'm about to define it. Because the definition most people carry is not the definition that was spoken at the origin. Most people understand victory as conquest. The enemy falls, the situation reverses, the visible triumph is confirmed and measurable by anyone watching. In that framework, victory only exists after the outcome is declared in the natural realm. By that definition, you are not victorious yet. You are still waiting, still petitioning, still framing your prayers around what has not yet appeared. And that definition is precisely where the enemy has held you, because it is not what nitzachon originally meant. Nitzachon comes from the Hebrew root natzach, to shine, to endure, to be inextinguishable, to excel beyond all comparison. This root appears in the Psalms' superscriptions, laminatiach, typically rendered to the chief musician, but carrying within it a deeper meaning, the one who brings the enduring thing forward into light. Victory in the original language is not primarily measured by what you destroyed. It is measured by what survived in you when every condition was designed to put it out. There is a dimension of this word that goes even deeper. Natzach also carries the sense of standing where nothing else stands, not superiority over others, but preeminence in the sense of being the last thing remaining. The inextinguishable thing does not simply survive. It becomes the only thing visible once everything that could burn has burned away. What remains after the fire is not diminished. It is, for the first time, fully itself and fully undeniable. The announcement heaven made today is not, "Your enemy has fallen." It is this: what is inside you could not be put out. The silence, the cost, the endurance, the long faithfulness in the dark, none of it was evidence of a battle still undecided. All of it was the certification process that nitzachon requires. Heaven does not declare this over those who won quickly. It declares it over those who carried the light through every condition designed to end it and kept carrying it. What the certification looks like from the inside is indistinguishable from losing. Because the furnace does not feel like a graduation ceremony, the cave does not feel like a throne room, and the silence, the prolonged, inexplicable silence you have been carrying, does not feel like deliberation. It feels like absence. But the absence was never the event. The deliberation was. And what was being deliberated was the only question this season could answer. Can what is in this person be extinguished? Type nitzachon in the comments right now, not as a word to look up later, as a decree and the first declaration of the season you are now receiving. Let those 7 letters be the mark of the threshold you are crossing in this moment. Not entering into, crossing, because crossing implies you are already in motion, already received, already carrying the announcement that heaven released into the earth before the evidence arrived on the ground. Now I want to show you this word in a life, not abstractly, but in the specific decisions of a man who carried nitzachon before he understood what it was called. Because what heaven announced about you today is not without precedent. There is a pattern in Scripture, a specific sequence, and when I show you where you are inside it, the announcement will stop feeling theoretical and begin to feel like a coordinate, a location you can stand on with both feet. Samuel did not go to a palace, he went to a field. Jesse lined up his sons, the impressive ones, the prepared ones, the ones with the bearing of kings. Heaven passed on every one of them. Then the youngest was summoned from tending sheep, unannounced, uninvited by the occasion, and oil was poured over him before any throne existed, before any army acknowledged him, before a single visible circumstance agreed that this was the right person at the right moment. The announcement arrived before every condition that should have supported it. That anointed shepherd spent the following years as a fugitive. A king hunted him. Allies abandoned him. He wrote psalms from cave walls, in conditions where the announcement seemed to have been a mistake, where every natural indicator contradicted what the oil meant. Nitzachon did not cancel the cave years, it sent him into them, because the certification cannot be issued without a sustained period when the decree has no visible support, and the one who carries it has to decide whether the announcement is more real than the cave. What is extraordinary is not that the decree survived David's victories. It is that the decree survived the caves. When Saul closed every door, when allies fled, when the timing seemed permanently missed, The anointing did not expire. No human permission renewed it. No visible circumstance confirmed it. It held because heaven had issued it. And heaven does not retract decrees when the earth fails to confirm them on the schedule the enemy would prefer. That is where you are right now. You are inside the cave years, anointed, announced over, living in conditions that bear no resemblance to what the oil implied. And that is not a contradiction of the decree. It is the certification chamber. Every day you remained faithful in that cave. Every prayer you kept praying when nothing responded. Every morning you chose not to abandon the post. Heaven was building the court record that makes the verdict uncontestable. You were not enduring despite the cave. You were being proven inside it. In the Hebrew prophetic pattern, the announcement always precedes the manifestation. Always. Gabriel spoke to Mary before there was a child. The walls of Jericho were declared fallen before a stone moved. The lame man was commanded to rise before his legs had capacity to obey. The announcement is not the reward for what already appeared. It is the declaration that makes what has not yet appeared inevitable. You are not waiting for the announcement. You received it before this word began. Earlier in this word, I gave you one sentence, that you were not abandoned in the fire. You were being certified inside it. I planted that image deliberately, and now I develop it. Gold does not enter the furnace to become gold. It enters the furnace because it already is gold, and the fire is the only process capable of burning away everything that concealed what it was. The furnace does not produce purity. It reveals what was always there, and issues a certification that the fire itself signed. The courtroom that went still during this season, I told you the silence was procedural. Now I tell you what was being deliberated. Every condition this season produced was entered as evidence. Every act of faithfulness in the silence, every prayer you kept praying when nothing answered, every day you chose the post over the exit, all of it entered into the court record. The verdict is Nitzakon. And it was built on evidence that cannot be contested, because it was accumulated in the very conditions the enemy designed to disqualify you. What changes now is not the circumstance. What changes is the category you occupy. You are no longer someone who hopes they are chosen. You are someone who has been proven chosen through sustained endurance in conditions specifically designed to make the anointing appear to be a mistake. There is a difference between a hoped-for identity and a proven identity that cannot be explained, only inhabited. And what you endured in this season was not the waiting room for that proof. It was the proof itself. You do not walk forward from this word, waiting for further confirmation. You walk forward carrying an announcement already issued, already declared, already irrevocable, already indexed to your name in the courts where verdicts do not expire. The evidence on the ground will align with what heaven declared. But the declaration does not wait for the alignment. It never did. Nitzakon is not a result you receive after the victory is visible. It is the announcement that makes the victory undeniable before the ground catches up. The deepest truth is still ahead, and it has your name on it. Because Nitzakon does not simply describe what was proven in you during this season. It carries within it specific names, designations that belong to you now by right of what was certified. I have not yet told you what those names are. They are coming. And when you hear them, something in you will recognize them before your mind has time to evaluate whether it should. Return to the image I planted at the beginning of this word. You were not abandoned in the fire. You were being certified inside it. Now I give you the full picture. Gold does not enter the furnace to become something it was not. It enters because it already is gold, and the furnace is the only process capable of separating what it truly is from everything that attached itself to it over time. The fire does not add. It removes until only the irreducible, inextinguishable thing remains. What emerges from the furnace is not a restored version of what entered. It is a revealed version, carrying the same substance, but now bearing a marking the fire itself applied. Not a human certification, not a performance review. A marking that says, this was tested under conditions specifically designed to destroy it, and it is still here. That marking is Nitzakon, and the names that follow from it are not aspirations you are moving toward. They are designations the process already earned on your behalf. The first name heaven has held over you through this season is the proven one. Not the one who tried, not the one who survived and carries the scars as evidence. The proven one, past tense, completed, certified by the fire itself. This designation is not conferred by success. It is issued through endurance. You did not earn it by winning quickly. You earned it by remaining when every condition around you was engineered to guarantee your departure. What this name authorizes is authority that cannot be challenged, because it was not granted by anyone with the power to revoke it. It was tested. The enemy himself became the witness for the certification. Every condition he sent to extinguish what is in you became instead the evidence that it could not be extinguished. When the proven one speaks a word, a declaration, a claim over their own future, there is a court record behind it that the opposition cannot contest. The second name is the anointed announcer, not a title of platform, a designation of frequency. The announcement heaven made over your life now travels with you into every room, every conversation, every space you enter going forward. You no longer go into environments to receive what they are holding. You arrive carrying what heaven declared, and the atmosphere must first reckon with the announcement before it can reckon with you. That is not pride. That is the protocol of the proven. What this name activates is advance work you are not responsible for managing. Before you speak, the frequency has already entered the room. Before you present your position, the announcement has already been filed in the spiritual record of that space. The anointed announcer does not arrive hoping to be received. They arrive already received in the realm that governs the natural. Any resistance that follows is temporary opposition to a permanent declaration, and it resolves always in favor of what was announced. The third name is the threshold crosser, not the one approaching the threshold studying the ground ahead, not the one standing at it, waiting for visible confirmation that the other side is solid. You are crossing it, present tense, active now. The threshold between the battle season and the inheritance season is exactly where most anointed people hesitate, because nothing visible has confirmed that what waits on the other side is real. The threshold crosser steps without that confirmation, because the announcement is the only confirmation that was ever required. What this name commissions is not a prayer or a declaration. It is a step. The authority was always present. The announcement has now reached you with enough clarity to make the step feel authorized. The crossing is not completed in a ceremony or in a moment of visible breakthrough. It is completed in a decision, specific, deliberate, irreversible, to inhabit the side of the threshold where heaven's announcement already placed you. That decision is available to you in this moment, and in no future moment more than this one. If you are still here, gently press the like, not for me, but because someone who needs this word will find it because of what you just did. Somewhere, a person is hours away from walking away from what heaven has already declared won. Your action is what sends this announcement to them before they make that exit. You will not know their name. You do not need to. The anointed announcer works in advance, and you just functioned as exactly that. I promised I would come back to something. I will. But first, there is something critical you need to understand about what happens next. The moment you receive an announcement like the one heaven released over your name today, something else moves. Not just the blessing drawing closer. Something that studied this season from the outside, that watched every condition designed to extinguish you and catalogued what it took to hold you this long. It moves too. And what it intends to do in the next 72 hours is not what you would expect. The enemy was watching this entire season. He catalogued every condition it took to hold you, studied which combinations produced the most silence, which losses came closest to an exit. The moment you begin to move as the proven one, the anointed announcer, the threshold crosser, he responds, not with his worst, with his most precise. What arrives next will not look like an obvious attack. It will arrive dressed as evidence. Within 72 hours of this word, a circumstance will appear that directly contradicts the announcement. A bill, a conflict, a silence from the exact direction where you expected movement, a disappointment landing precisely where the breakthrough was declared. It will feel entirely legitimate because it is real. This is the enemy's final tactic. Fresh evidence that nothing changed, delivered before the earth has had time to align with what heaven released into it. Write the announcement today. Your own handwriting, today's date at the top. When the contradiction arrives, hold the paper and read it aloud. The decree was not issued for the season when circumstances agreed with it. It was issued for the season when they do not. Reading it aloud in the presence of contradicting evidence is not denial. It is the most dangerous thing a proven one can do against a tactic built entirely on visible proof. The enemy may also send a small visible blessing, a partial movement, a single door opening, a token answer that arrives early enough to feel like confirmation, but is too small to be the full scope of what was announced. The strategy is specific: cause you to celebrate the first fruit as if it were the entire harvest, then watch you settle. You stop declaring. You receive the crumb and quietly vacate the table, believing the announcement has already been fulfilled by the least of what was promised. When a partial blessing arrives, receive it with full thanksgiving, then immediately speak this over it. This is a sign, not the sum. This is the first fruit, not the full harvest. The announcement heaven made is larger than what I am holding right now, and I receive this as confirmation that the full table is already prepared. One sentence of gratitude, one sentence of refusal to settle. That sequence is the weapon. The people who knew you during the battle season will continue speaking to you in the language of that season. Not maliciously, but because they are not updated. They carry genuine authority from what they witnessed, and they will speak that authority into a present they cannot yet see. Their well-meaning words are indexed to a season that has ended. A victory season identity cannot be constructed on battle season vocabulary, and the enemy will ensure those voices are amplified in precisely this window. Not everyone receives the announcement when you do. The word from heaven does not require human agreement to remain true, but exposing it prematurely to voices still carrying battle frequency is not faith. It is imprecision. In this immediate season, before the manifestation becomes visible to those around you, guard what was declared with strategic silence. Share it only with those who carry the same frequency and can speak to the decree, not the delay. Pearls retain their value regardless of how many people see them. We break the spirit of premature retreat before the announcement manifests on the earth. We break every voice still speaking battle season language over a victory season identity. We break the delay the enemy inserted between heaven's announcement and its earthly reception, severed now at the root, and it cannot reattach. Subscribe to this channel, not for content, but so that the next word prepared specifically for you finds you without resistance. Every announcement heaven releases over your life has a corresponding word that carries it into language you can inhabit. Aligning the channel through which those words arrive is not a digital gesture. It is removing friction from what is already in motion toward you. Place your right hand over your chest right now. Say this aloud, or if you cannot speak, say it in the place where words are still heard before they leave the mouth. I receive this announcement. I do not wait for it. I walk into it, because it has already been declared. That is not the beginning of believing. It is the first act of inhabiting what you already are. Do not leave yet. What happens in the next few minutes is the precise reason you were brought to this specific word on this specific day. Close your eyes. Place both hands over your heart. Not one, both. This is not a posture of petition. You are not asking for something that has not arrived. You are positioning yourself to receive what has already been declared, to inhabit what was announced before this word began. The difference between those two postures is the entire distance between the battle season and the season you are now entering. Breathe and breathe again. What follows is not a prayer in the conventional sense. It is a ceremony. Heaven does not merely invite you to receive Nitzakon. It presides over the formal transfer of that verdict from the courts of eternity into the life you are living right now, in this body, in this season, on this specific day. You are not asking to be made new. You are being recognized as what you already are. Receive this with open hands and a still heart. I release you now from the identity of the warrior still mid-battle, the posture that kept you braced for the next blow, the vigilance that could never fully rest, the interior readiness for loss that became so familiar it stopped feeling like a defense and started feeling like your actual name. You were faithful to carry it through every condition that required it. You do not carry it anymore. Set it down here completely and do not return for it. The season that needed it has ended. I release the grief you have been carrying over everything this battle cost. Every relationship that did not survive the season. Every door that closed. Every surrender that felt like robbery. Nothing that left during this battle left without assignment. The enemy cannot charge interest on what the Father authorized as an offering. What appeared to be taken from you was not stolen. It was consecrated. You are released from mourning it. It is in the hands that held it all along. I release the requirement for visible confirmation before you believe what heaven declared. That condition, the one that said, "I will receive the announcement when I see the evidence align," was not faith. It was a framework the prolonged silence installed, designed to keep you permanently in the posture of a petitioner rather than a receiver. It is released now, completely and irrevocably. The announcement does not wait for your natural eyes to confirm it. It is real. You receive it as such, right now. I release and revoke every word spoken over you during the battle season that indexed you to defeat. Every too late, every too long, and every too much, every voice that looked at what the season produced and named it an ending rather than a threshold. Those words were not prophetic. They were spoken by those who could see the cave but could not see what was being certified inside it. They carry no authority over what heaven announced. Revoked at the root, return to the one who sent them. I call forward the proven one, not as an aspiration, but as the designation already earned through the furnace, already certified by the fire that tested you and could not extinguish you. This name carries authority that cannot be challenged because it was not granted by any human hand. It was issued through endurance, and the enemy himself became the witness for the certification. Every declaration you make from this posture carries a court record behind it that the opposition cannot contest. Rise into it now. I call forward the anointed announcer, the one who now carries the frequency of heaven's verdict into every room, every conversation, every space that receives you from this day forward. You do not enter environments to receive what they hold. You arrive carrying what heaven declared, and the atmosphere must reckon with the announcement before it reckons with you. This is not a posture you perform, it is a frequency you carry, consciously, deliberately by name, activated now and not retracted. I call forward the threshold crosser, and I commission you to step across the boundary in this moment, before the prayer ends, before visible confirmation arrives, before you feel certain the ground on the other side will hold. It will hold. It was prepared before this season began. The crossing does not happen when circumstances agree. It happens when the one who was announced decides that the announcement is sufficient authorization. Take the step, now. The other side is already your territory. Type "I am the proven one" in the comments right now, not as self-declaration, as a covenant, the first act of inhabiting the identity certified in the furnace and announced in the courts of eternity today. Let those words be the mark of the threshold you just crossed, written publicly, in the first hours of the season that has begun. The furnace is behind you now. What emerged from it is not a restored version of who you were before the battle. It is a revealed version. The same substance, but now bearing a marking the fire itself applied. The fire did not make you gold. It proved what you already were, and issued the certification heaven has been holding until this precise moment to announce. You carry it forward. Every room that receives you from here receives the marking with you. Do not say amen yet. We are not finished. Stay with me, because what comes next is the voice that was deliberating while the courtroom was silent, and it has something specific to say directly to you. Keep your hands where they are. Keep your eyes closed. The word from the Father is still coming, and it was written for this exact moment in your journey. I cover the announcement heaven released over your name today, sealed now against every attempt to steal it, in the first critical hours before the ground aligns with what was declared in eternity. The enemy's most dangerous window is not the years of the battle. It is the hours immediately after the announcement reaches you, before you have built language for what you received. I place a hedge around this word, not as possibility but as established territory, so that what was sealed in the courts of eternity cannot be unsealed by any contradicting circumstance that arrives before the manifestation does. The announcement stands. No weapon formed against its delivery will prosper. I cover the relationships that will carry the testimony of this season, the ones who will hear what heaven declared over your name and receive it as the truth it is. I protect them from the damage of premature disclosure, from the opposition that targets anyone standing close to an announcement of this magnitude, from every voice that would speak battle season language into the first hours of a victory season testimony. What heaven assigned to those relationships, no opposition has authority to interrupt. They are covered, arriving in your life in the right order, at the right time, with the right words already in their mouths. I cover the next assignment, the one whose full shape you cannot yet see, whose scope exceeds what the battle season would have had you expect. You do not step into it exposed. You step into it covered, the way a soldier enters secured ground, not cautious ground. The ground ahead of you is not uncertain. It was prepared before this season began, and the covering that held you through the furnace is the same covering that goes with you into what the furnace certified you to carry. We break the spirit of premature retreat before the announcement fully manifests on the earth. We break every voice still speaking battle season language over a victory season identity. We break every assignment of delay the enemy placed between heaven's decree and its earthly confirmation, severed now, at the root, permanently. Now, keep your eyes closed. Keep your hands where they are. What follows is not my voice. I see you. I have always seen you. Not the version of you that managed the weak, not the version that held the outside together while something went quiet inside. I saw what went quiet. I was there in the going quiet. The silence you endured during this season was not my distance from you. It was my proximity to you in a chamber that required stillness. The same stillness that precedes every verdict in the courts where your name has always been written. You did not interpret it correctly. That is not your fault. Silence from inside the chamber sounds identical to absence. It is not. You were ashamed of your exhaustion. You believed that someone with enough faith would not feel this depleted at this stage of the journey. What I want you to hear is this. The depletion was evidence of how seriously you took the post. The ones who did not care deeply enough were not still standing here when the announcement arrived. You are here. The exhaustion was the proof of the faithfulness, not the evidence of its failure. I did not see depletion when I looked at you through this season. I saw someone who refused to leave a post they did not fully understand because something in them recognized it was worth holding. What could not be extinguished in you was not manufactured by you. You did not produce your own endurance. I was sustaining what I placed in you before the battle began, because I do not place something in a person that I intend to waste. Nitsakan was never about what you would accomplish on the other side of the fire. It was about what I knew was already in you, and what the fire would certify to any court that needed to examine the record. That certification is now irrevocable. No court can revisit it. No opposition can reopen the case. What was proven in the furnace does not require re-examination. The announcement I made over your name is not contingent on the evidence aligning in the natural. I do not issue decrees and then wait for circumstances to confirm whether I meant them. What I declared is done, finished in the realm where finished things originate and being released now into the world where you live, where you breathe, where you were faithful in ways that no one around you had the vantage point to fully witness. I had the vantage point, I saw all of it, and what I saw became the testimony that made the announcement not only possible, but necessary. Go into what is ahead of you without the posture of the one still petitioning. You are not asking anymore, you are receiving, and what you are receiving is not a new beginning. It is the first day of the season that the battle was always preparing you to inhabit. I commissioned you before the battle. I certified you through it. I am releasing you now, not into hope, but into having. Walk forward as who you are. The announcement has already reached the ground before your feet have. You are committed, you are commissioned, you are sent, you are committed to a call that the fire tested and could not revoke, a decree that the silence could not silence, an identity that every condition designed for your erasure instead certified beyond challenge. You are committed. You are commissioned, carrying the announcement of Nitsakan into every room you enter, every conversation you hold, every space that will be different, because you arrived in it carrying what heaven declared. You are commissioned, not by your own readiness, but by what was declared over your name before this day and sealed irrevocably within it. You are commissioned, you are sent, across the threshold you have been standing at, into the territory the announcement already prepared, bearing a name the furnace signed and heaven declared, and no opposition in the earth or beneath it has authority to revoke. You are sent. Do not say amen yet. Sit in this. Let the weight of what just happened settle into every place the battle made hollow. This is not the end of a word. This is the first moment of a season. And seasons do not begin with applause. They begin with stillness, with the quiet recognition that something has irrevocably shifted, with the sound of a door swinging open on hinges that were set long before you arrived at the threshold. Now, you may say amen. Send this to someone whose faith is still standing, but whose hands are getting tired. You know exactly who came to mind the moment I said that. It was not accidental. That person is hours away from the kind of exit this word was sent to prevent, and you are the one with the announcement already in your hands. You do not need to explain it to them. You do not need to frame it or prepare them. Send it. The word will find in them exactly what it found in you. What was declared over your name today carries a weight to it. Do not carry that weight past this moment without giving it somewhere to land. Even if the only thing you do is sit in 60 seconds of silence before you return to the week. Something was announced in the courts of eternity, and it reached the earth here, in this, in you. The ground has not yet fully caught up with it, but you have. And that is the only place it ever needed to arrive first.